I spent decades in the medical field observing, diagnosing, and treating patients with a variety of health concerns. I've seen it all: heart attacks, strokes, obesity, and diseases caused by the foods people consumed. But there's one phenomenon in the food world that continues to baffle me, even as I sit in my retirement. It's the avocado, yes, the humble avocado, often heralded as the king of superfoods. In my career, I've seen countless health trends come and go, but none have taken over the American diet quite like the avocado. It's on toast, in smoothies, slathered on salads, and even hidden in desserts. People can't seem to get enough of it, and, honestly, I understand the allure. Creamy, rich, and packed with healthy fats, avocados are like the food equivalent of a miracle. They've earned their place as a superfood. But here's the truth that most don't want to hear: the very food people swear by might be doing them more harm than good. When I was working as a doctor, I often warned patients about the risks associated with seemingly harmless foods, but nothing prepared me for the growing obsession with avocados. It was everywhere, and I couldn't help but wonder: are people aware of what they're really consuming? Are they aware of the dangers lurking beneath that green skin? Avocados, despite their nutrition-packed image, carry hidden dangers that most people have no idea about. They're full of healthy fats, sure, but what happens when you consume too much? Or when you ignore the natural toxins found within them? What happens when you don't know that the avocado you're eating could actually be causing you harm? These are the questions I've been mulling over in my retirement. But I didn't want to just sit back and let people keep making these mistakes. You see, I've spent my entire career studying health, nutrition, and the human body. My aim wasn't just to treat patients, but to educate them so they could make informed decisions about their health. And now, retired, I feel it's my responsibility to share the knowledge I've gathered over the years, especially when it comes to something as deceptively harmless as avocados. I've watched people become obsessed with avocados, as if eating them could somehow guarantee health and longevity. But let me tell you something. There's a dark side to this obsession, and it's not something anyone wants to talk about. You see, the avocado craze isn't just a trend. It's a potentially dangerous habit that could be undermining your health without you even realizing it. The same food that promises heart health, improved digestion, and glowing skin might be secretly sabotaging you. I've seen patients walk into my office proudly boasting about their avocado-filled diets and then walk out with problems they never expected. From weight gain to digestive issues, allergic reactions, and even more serious complications, many of these issues stem directly from the overconsumption or improper handling of avocados. So, why aren't we talking about it more? Why is this superfood being treated like the holy grail of health when, in reality, it's not as perfect as everyone believes? That's exactly why I'm here today to share the truth. After all, you wouldn't want to continue putting something in your body that could be secretly harming you, would you? Now, before we dive deeper into the real dangers of avocado consumption, I ask you to think for a moment. How often do you eat avocados? Do you simply assume that because it's a superfood, you can eat as much as you want, with no consequences? What if I told you that you've been making critical mistakes without even realizing it? If this has sparked your curiosity, then I urge you to stick around. I'm about to reveal 6 dangerous mistakes people make with avocados that could seriously harm your health. You'll learn exactly what those dangers are and how you can enjoy this fruit safely without putting yourself at risk. Before we dive into the specifics, I'd like to ask for your support. If you're intrigued by what I've shared so far and want to learn more about how you can protect your health from hidden risks like these, please consider subscribing to this channel. Your support will keep me motivated to bring more valuable content to you, content that could potentially change the way you think about your health. As a retired doctor, I've spent the better part of my life closely observing the human body, how it reacts to different foods, environments, and conditions. Throughout my years in the field, one thing became abundantly clear: even the healthiest foods can carry hidden dangers. One of the most astonishing revelations in my medical career has been the truth about avocados, a food most people view as nothing short of miraculous. People think of avocados as the perfect fruit, loaded with healthy fats and vitamins, offering everything your heart could desire. But I want to share with you something few realize: the fruit you've come to trust as your dietary ally may contain a hidden toxin that could undermine your health in ways you never expected. You see, every part of the avocado plant, whether it's the leaves, the bark, or the seeds, contains a natural compound called persin. Persin is a fungicidal toxin, and while it serves as a defense mechanism for the avocado tree, protecting it from various diseases, what's not widely known is that it's present in the flesh of the avocado too. Yes, the very part of the fruit that we consume. In small amounts, it might not seem dangerous, but as I've seen in my years of practice, prolonged exposure can take its toll on the body, often in ways that are subtle, insidious, and completely undetected. Let me take you back to a moment during my time as a doctor when I first learned about persin. I was attending a medical seminar on the health impacts of everyday foods, and we began discussing the seemingly innocent avocado. An expert spoke about persin and its potential to cause harm, and I was taken aback. Until then, I had always recommended avocados to my patients, confident in their health benefits. But this new information made me pause and reconsider. How many patients had I advised to eat avocados regularly, not knowing that this very fruit could be compromising their long-term health? I began to look deeper into persin and its effects on the human body, and what I discovered was troubling. While most people are unaware of this toxin, researchers have found that persin has the potential to damage human cells on a genetic level. It's not something you can easily detect in the moment, but over time, it might weaken your body's ability to protect itself. A study I came across, published in a toxicology journal, demonstrated that avocado fruit extract, especially when concentrated, was found to be genotoxic. This means it had the potential to damage the genetic material inside our cells. Imagine that the very fruit we thought was nourishing our body could, at some level, be harming it instead. Now, I can already hear some of you thinking, but I eat avocados all the time, and I feel fine, and you're right. Most of us can eat small amounts of avocado without feeling any immediate effects, but that's where the danger lies. You see, it's not always about the short term, it's about the long-term impact. Your body may be able to process small doses of persin without noticeable symptoms, but what happens when it accumulates over time? It's like any toxic substance: small doses might not kill you immediately, but over the years, it can take a toll. I'd like to paint a picture for you. Think of it like a small leak in a dam. At first, it's just a trickle, something you don't even notice. But over the years, that trickle of water gradually erodes the foundation, weakening the dam, and eventually, the structure collapses. This is exactly how persin works in your body. It's subtle, unnoticeable, but over the course of years of eating avocados daily, it may very well lead to chronic health issues. But here's something even more alarming. It's not just humans that are vulnerable to persin. If you think you're safe because you're human, think again. Studies on animals show just how dangerous persin can be in higher doses. For instance, birds that ingest even a small amount of avocado can experience increased heart rates, labored breathing, and, in extreme cases, death. Even mammals like goats and horses suffer from severe health problems when exposed to significant amounts of persin, such as mastitis and cardiac insufficiency. The idea that this same toxin is present in the avocado we consume regularly should give anyone pause. Now, I know what you might be thinking, but the amount of persin in avocado flesh is so small, it can't possibly cause harm, right? And while it's true that the concentration of persin in the flesh is lower than in other parts of the plant, it's still there, and for people who consume avocados regularly, it's worth considering the long-term effects. Not only that, but certain individuals might be more vulnerable. People with compromised liver function, for example, may have a harder time processing persin, making them more susceptible to its harmful effects. And just like how certain people are more sensitive to other foods and substances, some might experience adverse reactions even when eating what seems like a harmless amount. So, what does this mean for you? Should you stop eating avocados altogether? Not necessarily. I'm not saying you should abandon this nutritious fruit. In fact, avocados, when eaten in moderation and handled correctly, still offer numerous health benefits. But you need to be aware of the potential risks that come with eating them regularly, especially if you're consuming them in large quantities, as with anything in life, moderation is key. Here's my advice: if you're someone who enjoys avocado daily, it might be a good idea to take periodic breaks. I recommend a simple schedule: 5 days on, 2 days off. This approach gives your body a chance to process the compounds in the avocado without building up a dangerous accumulation of persin. Additionally, pay attention to how your body reacts. If you notice any signs of fatigue, digestive changes, or skin reactions, it may be time to cut back on your avocado intake and see if those symptoms improve. Ultimately, what I want you to take away from this is that while avocados can certainly be a part of a healthy diet, they aren't without their risks. Just like any food, they need to be consumed thoughtfully and in moderation. Don't blindly trust that a food is completely safe just because it's labeled a superfood. Even the most well-loved and seemingly healthy foods have their hidden dangers, and it's my duty as a doctor to ensure you're aware of those risks. So, next time you reach for that perfectly ripe avocado, remember this: while it's packed with nutrition, it's also hiding a toxin that could be silently affecting your health. Proceed with caution, enjoy in moderation, and most importantly, be mindful of how this superfood fits into your overall diet. Because, in the end, knowing the truth is the first step towards truly nourishing your body. As a retired doctor, I've had the privilege of watching the evolution of health trends throughout my career. From the early days of low-fat diets to the latest obsession with ketogenic eating, I've seen it all. But among the most deceptive trends I've observed is the love affair people have with avocados. Yes, avocados, the fruit that many consider a cornerstone of healthy eating. They're rich in nutrients, packed with healthy fats, and celebrated for their heart-healthy benefits. However, there's a hidden danger most people overlook. The very same fruit that promises good health can also quietly sabotage your efforts if consumed in excess. Let me tell you something. As a physician, I've spent years trying to help patients lose weight, maintain a healthy lifestyle, and understand the intricacies of nutrition. And what I've learned over the years is this: even the healthiest foods can lead to serious consequences if you don't pay attention to your portions. It's easy to forget that the road to better health is paved with moderation, not excess. And while the avocado is undoubtedly a superfood, it's also a highly calorie-dense one. I'll be honest with you, when I first came across avocado consumption in the mainstream, I was optimistic. People seemed to be finally embracing healthy fats, and I thought, this is a good thing. The avocado, with its creamy texture and nutrient profile, appeared to be an excellent addition to any diet. But over time, I began to notice a troubling trend. People were eating more and more avocados without fully understanding how calorie-dense this fruit is. And that's when I realized the problem: people were falling into the calorie trap. Here's the harsh reality that many fail to understand: a single avocado, especially the larger ones, can pack up to 320 calories or more. That's right, 320 calories in one fruit. You may be thinking, but I'm eating something healthy, so that doesn't matter, right? Wrong, you see. It's easy to assume that because an avocado is packed with healthy monounsaturated fats, it doesn't count toward your daily caloric intake. But the truth is, if you're eating avocados as an addition to your meals rather than a substitute for other high-calorie fats, you're setting yourself up for weight gain. Now, let me clarify something. I'm not saying you should avoid avocados altogether, far from it. I've seen the many benefits they offer: heart health, improved cholesterol levels, and better absorption of fat-soluble vitamins. However, the issue arises when people fail to understand that avocados are calorie-dense. They're not the free pass you might think they are. While a healthy fat, they still contribute to your total caloric intake, and if you're eating them in excess, you'll end up consuming more calories than you realize. I've witnessed this scenario countless times throughout my career. A patient walks into my office, eager to talk about their new healthy eating habits. They're eating avocados daily, sometimes 2 or 3 in a day, thinking they're making the right choice for their health. Yet, they're frustrated when they step on the scale and realize they've gained weight. The answer is simple: overconsumption. It's not just the avocado itself that causes the problem, it's the way people incorporate it into their meals. A person may add half an avocado to their salad, then another quarter to their sandwich, and perhaps another slice to their smoothie. When you break it down, they've consumed 500 to 600 extra calories in one day, all from avocado alone. And that doesn't even account for the extra calories in their salad dressing, sandwich bread, or smoothie ingredients. Before they know it, they've consumed an extra 1,000 calories just from adding avocados to their meals. This, my friends, is where the danger lies. Here's what I've learned in all my years as a doctor. It's not just about eating healthy, it's about how much you eat. And this concept applies to avocados as well. People get so caught up in the health benefits of avocados that they forget to pay attention to the bigger picture portion control. The key is to understand that healthy eating is not an all-you-can-eat buffet, even with healthy foods like avocados. When I was treating patients, I would often tell them, it's not the food, it's the quantity. If you overeat anything, even healthy foods, it can lead to unwanted consequences. It's not about avoiding foods you love, but learning to enjoy them in moderation. If you love avocados, that's perfectly fine, but you need to be mindful of how much you're consuming. For instance, a proper serving size of avocado is about 1/3 of a medium-sized fruit. That's approximately 50 grams or about 80 to 100 calories. This is the ideal portion size to reap all the benefits without overdoing it. But I've seen patients who consume an entire avocado in one sitting, thinking they're doing something good for their body. What they don't realize is that they're consuming 320 calories in one go, about the same as a small meal. Let me give you a practical example. Let's say you've had a hearty lunch and decide to add half an avocado on top of your salad. That's 160 calories. Then, in the evening, you blend up a smoothie with avocado for some added creaminess. That's another 200 to 250 calories. By the end of the day, you've consumed 500 to 600 extra calories just from avocados. Now imagine doing this every day for a week. Even the healthiest foods, if overconsumed, will lead to weight gain over time. I know many of you may be thinking, but I thought eating healthy fats was supposed to help with weight loss. And you're right, healthy fats like those found in avocados can help with satiety and may even support weight management in the long term. But when you don't keep your portions in check, even healthy fats can tip the scale in the wrong direction. So, what's the solution? The answer lies in balance and portion control. Don't make the mistake of adding avocado to everything you eat without considering the overall caloric intake. Instead of piling on extra avocado, try substituting it for other fats in your diet like butter or mayonnaise. You'll still get the health benefits of avocado, but in a way that doesn't lead to excess calories. It's also important to remember that moderation is key. I always told my patients that it's not about cutting out foods entirely, but about learning to enjoy them responsibly. Avocados are an incredibly healthy food, but like any healthy food, they must be eaten in the right amounts. Overconsumption of avocado, while often overlooked, is a real issue in today's world, and it's one that I've seen cause more problems than people realize. So, the next time you reach for that avocado, ask yourself, am I eating this for health, or am I eating this because it's the trendy thing to do? As someone who's seen the struggles of weight gain and the impact of diet on overall health, I urge you to keep your avocado portions in check. This small change will not only help you avoid unwanted weight gain, but will also allow you to truly benefit from everything this superfood has to offer. In all my years of practice as a doctor, I have encountered numerous cases of food allergies, some mild, some life-threatening. But one of the most troubling and often overlooked allergic reactions I came across involved a common, seemingly innocent food, the avocado. As someone who's spent a lifetime diagnosing, treating, and educating patients, I've seen just about everything, but the connection between latex allergies and certain fruits, particularly avocados, was a revelation to me. It wasn't something I had anticipated when I first encountered it, and it certainly wasn't something I'd ever warned my patients about. Yet, as I continued to see more and more individuals suffering from allergic reactions to avocados, I realized how dangerous this hidden risk truly was. I want to take you back to a particular patient of mine, a nurse in her early 30s named Sarah. She was a healthy, active woman who came to me complaining about recurring mild symptoms she couldn't quite place. She mentioned a slight tingling in her mouth and throat whenever she ate certain fruits, but the symptoms would go away after a few minutes. It was never severe until one day. It wasn't. One evening, she ate a salad topped with avocado, and the tingling sensation escalated into swelling of her lips and throat. She rushed to the emergency room, where doctors administered an antihistamine and observed her carefully for any signs of anaphylactic shock. Thankfully, she didn't go into full-blown anaphylaxis, but the scare was real, and the cause was clear: latex fruit syndrome. What happened to Sarah wasn't an isolated case. In fact, as I continued my practice, I discovered that this condition, latex fruit syndrome, was far more common than I'd ever imagined. The connection between latex allergies and certain fruits, such as avocados, bananas, chestnuts, and kiwis, is something that's increasingly recognized by medical professionals. The truth is, many people who have latex allergies are completely unaware that their bodies may also react to these seemingly unrelated foods. That's where the problem lies. It's not just about what you eat, it's about how your immune system responds to it. Latex fruit syndrome occurs because certain proteins found in latex are structurally similar to proteins found in these fruits. When someone who is allergic to latex consumes these fruits, their immune system can mistake the proteins in the fruit for those in latex, triggering an allergic response. For Sarah, eating avocado was a direct cause of the symptoms she experienced, and it took some time for her to make the connection. After some testing, we confirmed that Sarah had developed a hypersensitivity to avocados due to her existing latex allergy. At that point, I realized the gravity of the situation. As a doctor, my job was to inform my patients about these hidden dangers they might not even know they were facing. And the reality is that many people, like Sarah, had no idea that eating an avocado could trigger an allergic reaction. But the most worrying part, most people don't even know they have a latex allergy until it's too late. Latex fruit syndrome is more prevalent than most people realize. Studies show that 30 to 50% of individuals with a latex allergy also have hypersensitivity to foods like avocado. This connection is particularly concerning because latex allergies can develop over time, often without any obvious symptoms. Healthcare workers, food service workers, and individuals with frequent exposure to latex products like latex gloves are at a higher risk of developing this type of cross-sensitivity. Yet, because the symptoms are often mild or come and go, it's easy to dismiss them as a mere inconvenience rather than a potential medical emergency. The symptoms of latex fruit syndrome can range from mild to severe. Some individuals experience itching or tingling in their mouth or throat when eating these fruits, while others may develop more significant symptoms such as swelling of the lips, tongue, and throat, or even difficulty breathing. In rare cases, the reaction can escalate to anaphylaxis, which is a life-threatening condition that requires immediate medical attention. I've had patients who have experienced swelling so severe that their airway began to close, leading to panic and fear. Thankfully, they got the help they needed in time, but not everyone is so fortunate. What strikes me the most about this allergy is how easily it can go unnoticed. You might eat an avocado without experiencing an immediate reaction, only to find that over time, your immune system starts to build a tolerance, and suddenly, it reacts in a much more dangerous way. The body doesn't always give you a warning. Sometimes, it takes time for the full reaction to manifest. So, while the initial tingling might seem harmless, it could quickly turn into a full-blown allergic emergency. I remember another patient, an elderly man named Mr. Thompson, who came to me with symptoms that seemed to point to a common cold. His throat was sore, and he felt mildly congested. However, his symptoms kept recurring every time he ate certain foods, mainly avocado. Over time, he noticed that he would get more and more ill after each avocado-based meal. He'd been eating avocados regularly, convinced that they were the key to a healthy diet. But after conducting tests, we found that he had a mild latex fruit allergy, triggered specifically by avocados. He had never considered that his love for avocado might be the cause of his discomfort. This experience reaffirmed something I had long believed. People often don't realize the risks they're facing until they experience a serious health scare. And when it comes to latex fruit syndrome, it's not something most people are aware of, yet it affects more individuals than you might think. The connection between latex allergies and certain fruits, including avocados, is real, and it's something that should be taken seriously. So, what should you do if you suspect you have latex fruit syndrome? First, pay close attention to any symptoms you experience after consuming certain fruits. If you experience itching, tingling, or swelling in your mouth, lips, or throat after eating avocados or similar fruits, it's important to consult with your doctor. Allergy testing can help confirm whether you have a latex fruit sensitivity. If you do, it's crucial to avoid these fruits and seek alternative sources of nutrition that don't pose a risk to your health. As someone who's spent decades in the medical field, I cannot stress enough how important it is to listen to your body and recognize when something is off. If you suspect an allergic reaction to foods like avocados, don't ignore it. Consult with a medical professional who can help you navigate this hidden danger and keep you safe. In the end, I want you to remember this. Even the most popular, well-loved foods can have hidden risks, and it's not always about what's obvious on the surface. Latex fruit syndrome is a reminder of how complex our bodies can be. While you might love avocados for their health benefits, they might not love you back in the way you think. If you have a latex allergy or suspect you do, take the necessary precautions. Your health is too important to take chances with. In all my years as a doctor, I've had the privilege of witnessing a vast array of health issues, many of which stemmed from something as simple as improper food handling and storage. We often take for granted the safety of the food we eat, but what I've learned over decades of practice is this: food safety is critical, and improper storage can be just as dangerous as consuming the wrong types of foods altogether. This is especially true when it comes to something as popular and seemingly innocent as the avocado. Despite being hailed as a superfood, avocados, when stored and handled improperly, can pose serious risks to your health. It all started one afternoon in my clinic. A patient, a young woman in her 20s named Lily, came in complaining of stomach cramps, nausea, and diarrhea. At first, she didn't seem overly concerned, thinking it was just a mild bug. But as I listened to her symptoms and asked about her diet, something caught my attention. She had been eating avocados every day for the past week, adding them to her salads, smoothies, and even spreading them on toast. The problem was, she'd been leaving the avocados out on the kitchen counter after cutting them, and sometimes she wouldn't even refrigerate them until the next day. This careless habit was something I had seen in many of my patients, and I quickly suspected that it had more to do with food safety than anything else. You see, avocados, like many fruits and vegetables, can harbor harmful bacteria, including Salmonella, E. coli, and Listeria. When avocados are improperly stored, particularly after they've been cut, these bacteria can multiply rapidly and cause serious foodborne illnesses. The danger comes from a combination of factors: the rough, porous skin of the avocado, which can trap dirt and bacteria, and the fact that most people don't think twice about how they store cut avocados. What many don't realize is that the contamination process starts long before the fruit reaches your kitchen. Avocados are grown in warm, humid climates, conditions that are perfect for the growth of harmful bacteria. Once these bacteria land on the skin of the avocado, they can easily make their way inside when you cut into the fruit. It's common knowledge that fruits with tougher, thicker skins, like avocados, don't need to be refrigerated immediately, but that doesn't mean they are immune to contamination. The rough exterior of an avocado provides a perfect hiding place for bacteria, and when the fruit is sliced open, those same bacteria can be transferred into the flesh, where they multiply rapidly if not stored properly. It was during my years in clinical practice that I first realized how crucial it is to educate patients about proper food storage. I'll never forget an incident early on in my career when a family came into my office after suffering from a severe bout of food poisoning. They had just enjoyed a family dinner where they'd made a delicious guacamole featuring fresh avocados. The problem wasn't the guacamole itself. It was how the leftover avocados were handled. The family left the leftover guacamole out at room temperature for hours, even though they were aware that food left out for too long could become contaminated. But, like many of us, they didn't think much about it, assuming that avocados, being natural, would be fine. Unfortunately, they were wrong. As I examined the situation, I realized the same thing happened frequently. Many people don't realize that after cutting an avocado, it becomes vulnerable to bacteria, just like any other fresh produce. And leaving it at room temperature, in the danger zone 40 degrees Fahrenheit minus 140 degrees Fahrenheit, is exactly where these bacteria thrive. They double in number every 20 minutes, so by the time the family returned to the leftovers, the guacamole was teeming with harmful microorganisms that led to their foodborne illness. This experience, among many others, underscored the importance of proper food storage and handling. And when it comes to avocados, the risks are particularly pronounced. The moisture-rich flesh of the fruit, when exposed to room temperature, becomes the perfect environment for bacteria to grow. In fact, Salmonella and E. coli are two of the most commonly associated pathogens in avocados, and both can cause serious gastrointestinal distress. Listeria can also be a major concern, especially for pregnant women, the elderly, and individuals with weakened immune systems. These bacteria can cause severe foodborne illnesses, and in some cases, they can lead to life-threatening complications. I remember another case involving an elderly gentleman, Mr. Harold, who was a regular at my practice. He'd been eating a lot of avocados for the past few weeks, having heard they were great for his heart. He was, in fact, correct. Avocados are a heart-healthy food. But, as I discovered during his visit, he had been keeping his avocados at room temperature for days after cutting them, thinking they'd keep just like any other fruit. He was suffering from nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea, and the cause was clear: bacterial contamination from improper storage. It's easy to overlook the significance of food storage, especially when we're caught up in the rush of our busy lives. We tend to assume that because something is healthy or natural, it's inherently safe. But as I always remind my patients, nature doesn't always guarantee safety. Foodborne illnesses are not just the result of undercooked meats or contaminated water. They can also be triggered by something as innocent as improper storage of fresh produce, like avocados. The solution to this problem is simple, but it requires discipline and awareness. First and foremost, after cutting an avocado, it's imperative to refrigerate the leftovers immediately. Leaving cut avocado out on the counter or in the kitchen for extended periods is an invitation for bacteria to multiply. A common mistake I've seen is people leaving an avocado half with the pit still inside, thinking the pit will protect it from spoilage. While the pit might slow down the oxidation process, the browning, it does nothing to prevent bacterial contamination. The best approach is to cover the leftover avocado with plastic wrap or store it in an airtight container before placing it in the refrigerator. I've also recommended to patients that if they don't plan to consume an avocado within a day or two of cutting it, they should consider freezing it. Avocados freeze well, and this can prevent them from sitting around for too long, potentially harboring harmful bacteria. Freezing also preserves most of the fruit's nutrients, making it a good option for anyone looking to extend the shelf life of their avocados. In my experience, people are often surprised when I tell them how critical it is to handle avocados carefully after they're cut. We've all been taught to wash our hands before eating and to clean our cooking utensils properly, but food safety goes beyond that. It's about knowing how to handle and store food properly, from the moment it enters your kitchen to the moment it leaves your plate. And in the case of avocados, that means being aware of the risks of bacterial contamination and taking the necessary steps to avoid it. The lesson here is clear. While avocados are undoubtedly a nutritious addition to your diet, they can also pose significant risks if not handled and stored properly. Improper storage can lead to foodborne illnesses, some of which can be severe or even life-threatening. So, the next time you slice into an avocado, remember, treat it with care, store it properly, and be mindful of how long it sits out. Your health and your stomach will thank you for it. Throughout my decades as a doctor, one of the most challenging aspects of my job was helping patients navigate the complexities of their health. Over the years, I've come to learn that food, even the seemingly harmless foods we consume every day, can have a profound impact on our health, especially when combined with medication. The avocado, a fruit so widely loved for its nutritional benefits, is no exception. But what many fail to realize is that avocados, despite their reputation as a superfood, can interact dangerously with certain medications. And it's this unsuspected relationship that can lead to serious complications, sometimes without patients ever realizing it until it's too late. As a doctor, I've always emphasized the importance of understanding the full scope of one's health. This includes the foods you eat, the medications you take, and how they interact with each other. Medication, after all, is not just about taking a pill. It's about the delicate balance your body maintains between the substances in your system. And, much like with any balance, one wrong move can cause a cascade of effects, often leading to complications that could have been avoided with a little more awareness. I remember a patient, Robert, an elderly man in his late 60s who came to see me a few months ago. He had been taking medication for high blood pressure and blood thinners for several years, part of his routine, as he was managing his cardiovascular health. His doctor had prescribed blood thinners to reduce the risk of blood clots after he had suffered from a minor stroke some years ago. Robert, in his desire to live a healthier life, had also started incorporating avocados into his diet, enjoying one every day because he had heard about their heart-healthy properties. He figured the more avocados, the better, but soon after, he began to notice something troubling. He felt unusually fatigued, his energy levels were dropping, and he was bruising easily, even without any apparent injury. Initially, we didn't connect his symptoms to his diet. It wasn't until he mentioned his daily avocado habit that I began to see the potential link. Avocados, as it turns out, have a surprisingly high concentration of vitamin K, a nutrient essential for blood clotting. For most people, vitamin K is beneficial, helping prevent excessive bleeding when injured. However, for someone like Robert, who was on blood thinners, consuming too much vitamin K can interfere with the medication's ability to work effectively. The result is a potential increase in the risk of blood clot formation, which is exactly what we wanted to avoid. It was a crucial moment for me in my practice, a stark reminder that even the healthiest foods need to be treated with caution when medications are involved. Robert's experience underscored the danger of unmonitored consumption of foods like avocados, especially when people are unaware of the interactions between their medication and the food they eat. His case wasn't the only one. Over the years, I've seen many patients unknowingly make similar mistakes, thinking that adding superfoods like avocados to their diet was harmless. But in reality, for people on anticoagulant medications, the high vitamin K content in avocados can significantly interfere with the intended effects of the medication. This is not a rare occurrence. People on medications for heart disease, high blood pressure, and even diabetes are often encouraged to eat healthy fats, like those found in avocados. And while the fats in avocados are indeed healthy, rich in monounsaturated fats that support heart health, they can still disrupt the delicate balance that these medications are trying to maintain. If you've ever been prescribed ACE inhibitors, potassium-sparing diuretics, or blood pressure medications, you might be at risk. These drugs, while crucial in managing blood pressure, work by interacting with potassium levels and vitamin K. Avocados, rich in potassium, can throw off this balance, potentially leading to hyperkalemia, a condition where your blood has too much potassium. The effects of hyperkalemia can be severe muscle weakness, irregular heart rhythms, and in extreme cases, cardiac arrest. When I worked in the clinic, one of the most common misconceptions I encountered among patients was the idea that all healthy foods are always safe, regardless of the medications they take. But food, like medicine, is not without its complexities. Every nutrient in every food interacts with our body in specific ways, and when combined with the powerful medications people rely on to stay healthy, those interactions can lead to complications that are often subtle and hard to detect. The avocados we so often turn to for heart health, for instance, can alter the very chemical processes that allow our medications to function as intended. And let's not forget the impact on people with diabetes. While the healthy fats in avocados are often recommended to those with diabetes, the fiber and high-fat content can also affect insulin sensitivity. For some, this may enhance insulin sensitivity and provide benefits, but for others, particularly those on medications like insulin or sulfonylureas, it can cause unpredictable drops in blood sugar. These fluctuations can result in hypoglycemia, where blood sugar drops to low, leading to dizziness, confusion, or even loss of consciousness. The challenge, then, is navigating the delicate balance between consuming foods like avocados, which offer numerous health benefits, and managing the medications that are essential for conditions like high blood pressure, heart disease, and diabetes. I always told my patients, knowledge is key. It's essential to work with your healthcare provider to understand how food can impact your treatment plan. I'd often stress to them that the simplest approach, moderation, is the key to maintaining that balance. For Robert, after we adjusted his avocado consumption and monitored his blood thinner levels more closely, he began to feel much better. The fatigue lifted and the bruising stopped. It was a relief to see him back to his old self, and it reminded me of the importance of asking the right questions about diet, medications, and how the two interact. It was not just about telling him what to eat, but about teaching him how to be aware of the subtle ways that even healthy foods can affect his health. As a doctor, I've always believed that healthcare is a partnership. Patients don't simply follow instructions, they need to understand how their bodies work and how every choice they make, including what they eat, impacts their health. I urge you to always talk to your doctor about the foods you eat, especially if you're on long-term medication. Don't assume that healthy foods are automatically safe, they're not. And when combined with medications, even the healthiest foods can become part of the problem, rather than the solution. So, the next time you reach for that avocado or any other superfood, take a moment to think about your medications. Are you on a blood thinner, a blood pressure pill, or a diabetes medication? If so, make sure to consult with your doctor about the potential interactions. Your health depends on more than just the food you eat. It depends on understanding how everything you put into your body works together. As a retired doctor, I've spent a lifetime studying the human body, the foods we eat, and the ways in which they interact with our health. I've seen patients come into my office excited about the latest health trends, only to leave disappointed when they realize that a seemingly harmless food, one they've been told is a superfood, is actually causing more harm than good. Through the years, I've learned that the key to a healthy life isn't just about eating the right foods, but understanding how and why those foods affect us. Avocados are a perfect example of this complexity. I remember one patient, a young woman named Grace, who came to me asking for dietary advice. She had recently become obsessed with avocados, convinced that they were the secret to better health. She had read all the articles, seen the influencers on social media singing their praises, and decided to incorporate them into every meal. Her logic was simple. If they're good for your heart, they must be good for me. I nodded as she spoke, but inside, I couldn't help but feel concern. Avocados, with their healthy fats and rich nutrients, certainly had their place in a balanced diet, but I could already see where things were going wrong for Grace. While avocados do offer numerous health benefits that are scientifically proven, there are risks that come with overconsumption, misuse, and misunderstanding their true potential. Too often, people hear about the many virtues of avocados, their ability to lower LDL cholesterol, improve skin health, and support overall cardiovascular health, and assume that the more they eat, the better they'll feel. But this isn't always the case. What's essential is not just eating avocados, but eating them correctly and, more importantly, in moderation. One of the greatest lessons I've learned over the years is that balance is key to any healthy lifestyle. Just because something is considered healthy doesn't mean you can indulge in it without consequence. Even with a superfood like the avocado, understanding its place in your diet is crucial. Grace, for example, was eating avocados in large quantities, believing she was doing something good for her health. The truth was, she was consuming more calories than she needed, without even realizing it. After speaking with her about her eating habits, I recommended a more balanced approach, one where she would incorporate avocados into her diet, but with mindful portion control. The good news is that when consumed properly, avocados are one of the most nutrient-dense foods you can add to your diet. They are rich in monounsaturated fats, which are heart-healthy and can help reduce the risk of heart disease. These fats, specifically oleic acid, have been shown to help reduce LDL cholesterol, the bad cholesterol, while boosting HDL cholesterol, the good cholesterol. In my years of practice, I've often told my patients that consuming healthy fats like those found in avocados can do wonders for your heart. But the key, as with everything, is moderation. Moreover, avocados are a great source of fiber, which is essential for maintaining healthy digestion. For many of my patients, increasing fiber intake is one of the first recommendations I make, particularly for those struggling with constipation, irritable bowel syndrome, or digestive discomfort. Fiber also plays an important role in blood sugar regulation, helping to slow the absorption of sugar into the bloodstream and reduce spikes in blood sugar levels. So, for individuals looking to manage their blood sugar levels, especially those with type 2 diabetes, avocados can be a powerful ally when consumed in appropriate portions. And then there's the nutrient absorption factor. Avocados are not just a source of healthy fats, they also help your body absorb fat-soluble vitamins like vitamins A, D, and K. This means that when you eat avocado alongside other nutrient-rich foods, such as vegetables, your body can absorb these essential vitamins more efficiently. Over the years, I've seen patients improve their overall health simply by pairing foods like avocados with other nutrient-dense foods. But here's the catch. It's all about how you balance the rest of your diet. As much as avocados are beneficial, they're also high in calories. One large avocado can contain over 300 calories, which can add up quickly, especially if you're not mindful of your serving size. This is the very mistake I see time and again. People adding avocado to their meals without considering the calorie impact. It's easy to forget that the calories in healthy foods still count. Grace, for example, was eating an entire avocado a day, thinking she was giving her body a health boost. But over time, those extra calories began to accumulate, and she started gaining weight, even though she was eating healthy foods. That's where portion control becomes so important. You don't need to avoid avocados entirely to benefit from their health properties, but it's essential to moderate your intake. For most people, a serving size of 1/3 to 1/2 of a medium avocado is more than enough to reap the benefits. That's about 50 to 100 calories per serving, just enough to get the heart-healthy fats, fiber, and vitamins without going overboard. I always recommend starting small and adjusting based on how your body responds. In my practice, I also found that it's important to incorporate variety into your diet. As much as I encourage people to enjoy avocados, I also remind them that no single food, no matter how nutritious, should be the center of their entire diet. Eating a wide variety of fruits, vegetables, and whole grains will ensure you're getting all the essential nutrients your body needs. Avocados are a wonderful addition, but they should complement a well-rounded, balanced diet, not dominate it. There's something about the obsession with superfoods that can cloud our judgment, leading us to overconsume and even misuse foods that have the potential to harm us when not handled correctly. Over the years, I've seen how this kind of thinking can backfire. Just because a food is touted as a superfood doesn't mean it's a free pass to eat it without consequence. That's why I've always believed that true health lies in knowledge and moderation. When it comes to avocados, enjoy them, but enjoy them thoughtfully. As I look back on my career, I find myself constantly amazed at how often people overlook the basics. Health doesn't come from eating a single perfect food, nor does it come from extremes. It comes from balance, from understanding what your body needs and giving it what it requires without overindulging. Avocados, with their healthy fats and fiber, can be a beautiful part of that balance when consumed in moderation. But it's important to never lose sight of the bigger picture. Your health is a long-term journey, and the key to success lies in small, consistent, and mindful choices. If you want to maximize the benefits of avocados, don't treat them as a quick fix or a one-size-fits-all solution. Be mindful of your portions, pair them with other nutrient-rich foods, and enjoy them as part of a diverse and balanced diet. Avocados can absolutely be a cornerstone of a healthy lifestyle, but only if you use them wisely. As I reflect on my years of experience as a doctor, one of the most profound lessons I've learned is that health is not just about making the right choices, it's about making informed choices. In a world where trends and popular diets come and go, it's easy to get swept up in the allure of superfoods or the latest health craze. And while foods like avocados can provide significant benefits to our bodies, they are not a one-size-fits-all solution. If I could pass on one piece of advice after years of working with patients, it would be this: Knowledge and balance are the true keys to good health. We've talked about the hidden risks that come with avocados, the toxin persin, the calorie trap, and the impact on medication and food interactions. What's important to remember, however, is that no food is inherently good or bad. It's how we choose to incorporate them into our diets that makes all the difference. Avocados, when eaten in moderation and in the right context, can be a powerful ally in our pursuit of health. But, like anything, too much of a good thing can lead to problems, and that's something we must all be mindful of. The key lesson here is about balance. It's not just about eating the healthiest food on the planet. It's about knowing how to use it wisely in the context of your overall diet. I've seen so many people fall victim to the idea that simply adding one superfood to their meals will guarantee better health, but health is much more complex than that. It's a combination of how you manage your nutrition, how you care for your body, how much you move, how well you sleep, and how you manage your stress. Avocados can be a great part of your diet, but they should be part of a broader picture of overall wellness. So how can you apply this lesson to your own life? First, evaluate your current eating habits. Are you relying too heavily on one or two superfoods? Are you overconsuming something just because it's popular? If you find yourself leaning too heavily on avocados or any other food, take a step back and ask yourself if your diet is well-rounded. Healthy eating is not about extremes. It's about variety, moderation, and listening to your body's unique needs. Next, be mindful of your portions. It's easy to forget that even the healthiest foods can cause problems if you eat too much of them. I've seen countless patients gain weight, feel fatigued, or suffer from digestive issues simply because they were consuming more calories than they realized, often from healthy foods like avocados. Portion control is not about deprivation. It's about giving your body what it needs and nothing more. Also, remember that you are not alone on your health journey. Whether you're just starting to learn about nutrition or you've been trying to maintain a healthy lifestyle for years, don't be afraid to seek help. It's okay to ask questions, consult with healthcare professionals, or even turn to a community of like-minded individuals for support. The more knowledge you gain, the more empowered you'll be to make informed decisions that benefit your long-term health. Lastly, stay consistent and patient with yourself. Health is a marathon, not a sprint. It's easy to get discouraged when results don't come as quickly as we'd like, but real change takes time. Progress, no matter how small, is still progress, so don't rush the process, trust it. Consistency, combined with knowledge, will always lead to sustainable, long-term results. As I continue to grow older, I find myself more committed to helping others than ever before. The years I spent in the medical field have shown me the immense power of knowledge, and I'm determined to share that knowledge with as many people as possible. That's why I continue to make these videos, because I want to make a difference, but I can't do it alone. If you found this content helpful, I encourage you to subscribe to the channel and donate, no matter how small the amount. Your support helps me continue creating valuable, life-changing content that I hope will inspire and educate more people in the future. As someone who has seen the impact that small changes can make over time, I promise that even the smallest donation will make a difference in helping me keep this channel running. I'm committed to providing you with useful, researched, and practical advice, because I believe that when we share knowledge, we empower each other to live healthier, more fulfilling lives. Now, I'd love to hear your thoughts. What small change have you made in your diet or lifestyle that has had the biggest impact on your health? Feel free to share your answer in the comments below. Let's learn from each other's experiences and inspire one another to keep making better, healthier choices. Thank you for being part of this journey with me. Your support is what keeps me going, and together we can all continue to learn, grow, and make informed decisions that benefit our long-term health. Don't forget to subscribe, and please, donate if you can. I may be older now, but I still have a lot to give, and with your help, I'll be able to continue this work for years to come.